I wanted to
Here's another
react
one
to
in
this
relationship to
video.
politics, but you've probably even seen this even in the news media industry.
This is an exorcist. When I lived in Denver, I lived right down the street from the church where this guy, I guess it's his home base. I would occasionally see him. I think he's the foremost expert, but in Denver is very, very, very evil and demonic. At the airport there, they have a blue horse called Lucifer. I mean, they don't even hide the what's going on. I'm not even going to go into the Denver International Airport, but this man right here, Father, I think it's Repliger. He describes what's going on in the world better than anybody I know. What's really going on is a war between good and evil. And I'm going to draw, I believe this man is the most evil man I've seen. It's horrifying.
So one case that I had, it's the only case I've ever had of Satan as the possessor. Those kinds of cases are very, very rare, even historically. And the only reason I thought he was actually, this has got to be the guy, is because he was trying to kill this woman and that he was possessing. And he was also, for 3 straight days, I beat this guy ruthlessly in a session, and he just lied all the time. Even when it would go better for him, if he just told the truth, he would just lie, which is what Christ said about him. He said he was a liar and a murderer from the beginning. Yeah. So, but anyway, at a certain point, what came out was, so in heaven, there are nemesis. Just as St. Michael fights against the demons, there's nemesis in heaven against the demons. So the demons actually have nemesis, specific holy people in heaven that actually combat them or deal with them. And very often it's because of the facts, like, for example, the demon against the noonday devil is actually St. Catherine of Alexandria, because of the fact that she conquered him by conquering that particular aspect of human nature, which is the tendency of just being slothful and lazy, right? Well, in this particular case with Satan is the nemesis was St. Joan of Arc. And the reason it was St. Joan of Arc, as it starts to come out in the case, because you have a series of sessions and stuff starts to be revealed about the dynamics of the case and why Christ allowed it and why is this particular demon possessing this person at this time and for whatever reason. And what basically came out is that St. Joan of Arc was the nemesis because she actually showed up during one of the sessions. I don't see her, but the person who's possessed actually saw her appear, and the demon just completely freaked out and starts running straight at me. And when I'm watching him run straight at me, I'm like, he's not coming at me. He's trying to get away from something. She literally ran over the top of me and runs the woman that's possessed.
What he gets at in this video, he starts talking about demonic possession of politicians. If you don't know, this guy's name is James Tallarico. Man, he is highly, he's frightening because I think he's brilliant. He's brilliant. He is so freaking evil. He knows this Bible, knows the Bible, but somewhere in the Bible it talks about how Satan knows the scripture better than anybody, except for Jesus. But boy, he pulled off a fast one with he was running against Jasmine Crockett, and he oh my God, what he did was brilliant. He went on Stephen Colbert, and they concocted this story about how Stephen Colbert said he couldn't show the whole interview because Donald Trump. They blamed it on Trump as always. So what happened is he ended up getting, I think, 2.5 million in donations, and it was all just a con job. So deceptive. That's what this guy's capable of. It wouldn't surprise me one bit if he came up with a way to win the Senate down in Texas, even though he's insane. Pure evil. Looks like Alfred Newman to me. But let's listen to the father.
But it was actually the demon goes and cowers in the corner. And so I asked the woman, I said, what, after the session was over, I asked the woman what happened. She said, well, Joan of Arc appeared. That's how terrified they are of the people in heaven. Well, over the course of time, what came out is that the reason St. Joan of Arc was the nemesis of Satan in this particular case was because of the fact that St. Joan of Arc is the nemesis to Satan under the aspect of treason through ambition. Yeah. And treason through ambition. And the reason Joan of Arc is the nemesis of him under that aspect is because she was put to death by a bishop who was French, who was siding with the English so that he could get a higher bishopric. He could advance in the church. So he commits treason in order to advance himself. And that's what the ambition part is. That's a description of a vast majority of the politicians in this country.
It's very obvious to me that demonic forces go after Christian leadership.
Yes.
It's one of the reasons so many of them are rotten. I feel sorry for them. And also leadership in general. Like the U.S. Congress has a much higher incidence of diseased personal lives.
That's right.
Than the American population.
That's
and that's not an accident because they have authority. That's just what I've noticed. Do you think that's true?
Oh, I think that's absolutely true. I mean, as far as the Christian leaders, a lot of times what happens is a lot of times they'll start out with good intentions.
Totally.
But then when they get to that position of power, it attracts the demons because for demons, they because they're cut off from God, they no longer have grace. They don't even know the economy of grace, and by that I mean in the sense they don't even know what helps that God is going to give to different people to get their lives together. That they have no access to any of that knowledge. They don't have any of that. They don't have. They hate each other. They can't stand each other. So they don't even have the common.
They hate each other.
Yeah, they completely hate each other, and so and so as a result of that, they have the only reason they get along is because they have a common end, which is to take us down, right?
Man, you're describing people I know.
Well, I'm getting there, Tucker.
Sorry,
I'm getting there. So the only thing that's left.
Yeah, he's describing politicians like James Tallarico. James Tallarico, I'm sorry. I remember growing up, the guys in the mafia, they were considered the bad guys, you know. The mafia, these guys are like choir boys compared to these politicians. Man. If this guy gets into power, James Tallarico, I don't know what's going to happen. But you can see how it's working. He's pretending, and I mean that. He's pretending to be a Christian. He even went to seminary school. I'm not an expert on the Bible. I read it every day. I truly try and, I came to Jesus just down the street from this church. I'm not a Catholic, but the church where the Father calls home base, it's really well known. It's on East Colfax in Denver, and I was in a motorcycle accident close by there, and I was I was pretty convinced I was going to die. I woke up in an emergency room in St. Joseph's Hospital right down the street. And all I could think of is I've got to read the Bible. I've just got to give it a chance. I look back now and I realize that was a divine intervention. It was the Holy Spirit, Jesus Christ. I do not understand the Trinity. I believe it, but I don't understand it. But I have experienced the Holy Spirit. But anyway, I was in Denver and I was in a motorcycle accident. I almost died. I woke up in the emergency room in Denver, Colorado, St. Joseph's, and something happened to me. I cannot take credit for it. It was a gift. Jesus came in and decided to save me. Since then, my life has just gotten incredible. But I started listening to this father around that time. It was around 2016. And I started to understand that I was demonically possessed. I'm not saying it's not like, Linda Blair, nothing like that, but I lived in a demonic world and didn't even know it. That's James Tallarico.
With the demons is because they were created in a hierarchy. So how intelligent they are, they have a will that's proportionately intelligent, is strong to that intelligence. And different demons have different degrees of intelligence. And so basically what that means is that their will, one demon's will is stronger than another. So in hell, there's only one thing that's left, and that's raw power. And so what happens but that power is melded with malice and self-servitude and that type of thing. And so what happens is that when you see people that go into positions of power, that attracts the demons, because they know, if I can get control of this guy, then I can then I can basically use his power that he has to cause all this other damage or to take other people down. That means so as I mentioned, a lot of the Christian leaders, they go with the right intentions. But when you're talking about politics or in the civil affairs where power is involved, sometimes people go in it with the right intentions, but then they get corrupted afterwards because the demons start. When you get that high profile, the demons are going to be really spending a lot of time and energy trying to take you down. But the other side of it is that, and we've seen this even in the Catholic Church, they'll get the wrong types of people into positions of authority. They know this particular person has this defect. They'll give the person the inspiration. You should go into politics. You should rule. You should be the governor. And so then they'll incline the person to go into that governorship, knowing that because of this person's psychological compatibility with them, with the demons, that they can manipulate this person to cause all sorts of damage.
Man, have I seen that a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, you must watch the news with your jaw open because you know what's happening.
I watch the news from a distance because it's almost like being in session. I just saw that this afternoon.
Really?
Yeah. In fact, that's actually one of the reasons. There's two things that I think you find interesting. I actually did a series on how communism and diabolic psychology are identical.
Yeah.
When you strip the veneer away of it, one being political and the other one being from the spirit world, we peel that veneer away. The patterns of thinking are exactly the same. But
is that true?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Can you? That's it. Worth lingering on for a moment. Can you describe what you see as similar between the way demons behave and the way that the Bolsheviks behaved?
Yeah, I mean, well, we see it even happening in our own country in the sense that the demons always present a temptation as this pie in the sky, great thing that you're going to get, and you're going to get all this pleasure and joy, and everything's going to turn out right.
Yes, that's exactly how the Democrats operate. I was a Democrat in Denver, a lifelong Democrat. And things changed fast. The demonic took over. Lucifer, the Blue Horse, the airport. They legalized weed, and it changed everything. It got to the point where I wasn't religious. I wasn't even political. I just automatically voted Democrat. I didn't realize I was brainwashed. I did that, but it all changed one day when I was watching Donald Trump. He was debating, I think it was Neil Bush, and I'm a veteran, and I was disgusted by the weapons of mass destruction and how that whole thing took place. It was just such a con, and nobody said anything. Up to that point, we lived in a world where stuff like that went on, but nobody said anything. And then I'm watching Donald Trump debate Neil Bush, and he said it. He was the first guy who had the guts to get up there and say, your brother made a big mistake when he invaded Iraq. He screwed up big time. Nobody would say that. It was like the elephant in the closet. And when Trump said that, up to that point, I thought Trump was kind of a joke, like an entertainer type. Even though I'd met him once before, not met him like a friend or anything. I just went to one of his speaking engagements, and he wouldn't remember me if he met me. But I thought it was a publicity stunt that he was running for president. I thought, geez, he's a genius, man. He's going to make a lot of money out of this. That's what I thought. But when he said that, man, I started taking him seriously. That was gutsy. 'Cause he's the most revolutionary. He's everything that the Democrats want. You know, a revolutionary guy. He's the real deal. And I had friends in Denver, and they developed Trump derangement syndrome. I told them I can't talk to you, man. You're obsessed with Donald Trump. Anyway, this is my drawing of the face of evil. This guy's literally, I don't think he's Satan himself. I don't think he's the Antichrist. Holy cow, he's one creepy dude. He's got that innocent look, like Alfred Newman. Gee shucks, I'm just here to... I'm going to make a bold prediction. I'm going to say that he'll probably win. He'll be the next senator in Texas. He's brilliant. He's a genius. He's got the devil on his side. And, well, I might have to take that back, because Ken Paxton is a really wise man. If he runs against that John Cornyn or whatever his name is, he'll beat him. He'll come up with something like he did with Jasmine Crockett. Here we go. The devil.
This dog.
It's got an itch. There you go. But they'll present it as, this is a great thing. You're going to get this pleasure. You're going to get this. You're going to get power. You're going to get, but then once they get And so then you give into the temptation, and then from there they take you down. It's the exact same thing in communism. It's a pie in the sky thing. We're going to have nirvana because nobody's going to have to. There's not going to be any private property. You're never going to have to worry. The government's going to provide everything. Everything's going to be peaceful and joyful. And it's because of capitalism that there's all these wars. It's they sell you a bill of goods, they get you to sign off on it, and then from there they take you down. And that's exactly what the communists do. This is one of the reasons why one of the patterns in relationship to politicians in this country that are clearly communist. I said, you can just watch the pattern. They'll start out idealistic. But I always tell people, give them a couple of years and you're going to see the malice.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what you see.
Hurting people.
Yes, exactly. And they think it's justified to achieve this good thing in the end.
Yeah, this fella right here, he's idealistic. Has such great ideas. Yeah. I consider him the biggest threat. The biggest threat. He's so slick. He's got that innocent look. Thanks for watching.